You know what? Mr. Kuhn's hand is back up. Mr. Kuhn, we had
Hello?
you earlier.
Hello, can you hear me?
Yes.
Can you hear me?
Is this Ryan Kuhn?
Yeah, actually, this is So Young Lee. That's my son's name. I could not change the name.
Sorry, I had called you earlier. But,
yeah, no, I was speaking, but for whatever reason, the microphone didn't work. So I actually just wanted to, I have not been on these meetings for a while too, for the same reason that Angela did not. And my questions for the council, my question for the council and mayor, I have a couple, but how do you come up with litigation strategies?
How do we come up with strategy? Well, without getting into the actual strategy, we consult, or depending on what the litigation is, we're speaking.
For the housing litigation.
Right. So we speak to litigation counsel and affordable housing council. In the past, we had different people involved, and we have Mr. Bernstein now. I don't really understand what you want to.
Oh no! My question is, when you say we, like, do you as like a council body all together, or?
Yes, I'm sorry. So in closed session, we go over these matters, and we remind everyone that it's closed session, so we shouldn't be reading about it in Eye in the Cliffs or the Bergen Record. And there's an opportunity at every closed session to ask questions, to make statements, and to give advice or ideas. And if I've always asked that at every closed session. Just like there is the opportunity for the public to be heard in closed session, everyone has the opportunity to be heard.
Yeah, and so you share all the information, and who ultimately makes final determination on the strategy? Like, do you vote?
So in between meetings, there's emails that are distributed by the borough attorney to maintain privilege. And then in closed session, if an action has to be taken, there's a consensus obtained. It's usually not unanimous, just given the nature of a council. And then in between meetings, people have the ability to email or call directly the attorney or me, but if they're calling me about litigation issues, then I'm going to get an attorney on the phone also in order to maintain the privilege. If you recall, in 2019 and 2020, it didn't work that way. William Wu and I and Ramon in 2020 were completely frozen out. My mandate is to make sure everyone gets everything. No matter what political party you're from. I'm not playing the Democrat game here where they shut you off or build a wall around you or block you. And I've told the attorneys to do the same thing, to make sure that everybody's responded to. But that doesn't mean that the attorneys have to do special work for that council member. Everyone on council gets the same thing, same information. We run, and I thank Council Acting Borough Administrator McMorrow for making sure all that's been very clearly done. I know some people have frustrations because they don't like the strategy, but those people are always asked, well, what strategy would you like? And we rarely get anything productive from them.
Because I feel also, they may not have strategies because they don't the council may not have sufficient resources to be able to come up with strategies. So, I mean, in terms of I understand you have an open policy about sharing information, but I'm trying to understand, why wouldn't it be good to have like subcommittee just to come up with strategies and like discuss. And I'm not sure about all the details, but just the fact that you have more resources to proceed with the affordable housing litigation.
So just to back up, when Councilman Katrubis first introduced his idea of having a committee, I said, well, you know what, we could get advisors, it's fine. Like I said this evening, if somebody wants to present ideas to us in closed session, let me know, I'll invite you to come. If you want to say it publicly, let me know, you can speak. We're not going to share confidential information with them. So the first issue had been, us giving confidential information to people who are not on council, who are not protected by the attorney-client privilege. I think we overcame that. Then the second issue was, do you want people with commercial real estate experience, who are residents, who are developers? And that was a bit of an issue also, but I think we resolved that. Then there was an issue, Mr. Katrubis wanted a $500,000 budget for his committee, which—
Never an issue, never an issue.
That was part of the committee that you wanted. So we resolved that issue by making it clear that, it's the council that's ultimately, and the mayor, that are ultimately responsible to the residents. So any action taken can only be taken by the governing body, right? But we'll listen.
Could Luciano speak, please? Could Luciano speak?
I'm not finished, and you're interrupting. And then the last issue that I think we resolved tonight, I thought we did, that hung us up last week was, I'm against market-based units, so I'm not going to vote for a committee that has market-based units as something that we have to consider. And I understood that at least every Republican on council ran for office on the same platform, that they're against market-based units, but that we would comply with affordable housing through 100% affordable housing, which is what we're trying to do on Hudson Terrace. We're doing that. So I appreciate, So Young, that you're asking these questions, but that's how we've kind of made, almost made the sausage of what is this committee.
I'd like to respond to her, please.
I'd like to just answer Wayne. To no all due respect, Councilman Katrubis, but this is like the 5th time the mayor's going to go back to you, and I've been told I need to wait. I will gladly wait after the public is done, and then if you please allow me to speak.
Are you going to speak to the question from the resident?
Not to their question specific. That's why I said I'll gladly wait till the end.
So the resident.
So I mean, my real question was, according to Councilman Katrubis, he's not getting enough information. You are saying you are sharing all the information. So one of you is not telling the truth. That's and right. I'm trying to understand like how transparent the whole process is. And in order to succeed in this litigation, we will need to I mean, I hope you resolve the issues on the subcommittee so that we can utilize all the resources out there to come up with the best strategy for the housing litigation. I mean, that's all that's all I had.
Thank you. Would you like to?
You should be able to reply.
Would you like to visit us in closed session, Ms. Lee?
Maybe. Yeah, we'll talk about it offline.
Okay, all right.
Could Mr. Luciano?
Well, if Mr. Katrubis is going to reply, he should be allowed to reply.
Yeah, again, I don't think that I could be any more clear. I have not, and as an attorney, Ms. Lee, I think that you can understand that all it takes is one email hang up here, one telephone communication there. Once you're out of the loop, you're out of the loop. And this happens all the time. Okay. I am not receiving all the information. I am not receiving the calls from the attorneys. I don't believe that we have enough resources at the table. And that's all I'm trying to do here. And I I'm serious. And to be honest with you, even if this resolution passes, I think everyone understands what my gripes are with how people are withholding information. It's just going to continue to happen, right? And the way I see it is, and again, it's just my opinion, Mr. Mayor, but you're gonna say, take this, and you just, once you get the vote for whatever it is that you need, you never see him again, right? He only calls you whenever he needs something. And it's a game
Actually,
system.
that's completely not true.
Yeah,
It's
it's a
not-
game system
you
against
have-
the public. One of us is lying. One of us is
Well,
lying.
yeah, so
And
look,
I'm the one
you
that's
are in fact
lying here,
lying.
okay?
Right
So
now, you're
take
lying,
this
okay?
to
'Cause
it.
here's the fact of the matter is, you have access to every document and every email that I have access to. The one thing I can't do is make you read or
Mr.
understand.
Mayor, I read far more than you do.
You have access to every
Far
single.
more
Muted
versed.
him.
You have access to
Don't
every.
insult me like that, sir.
I've asked you about
Don't
10
insult
times
me like
tonight,
that. It's
what are
just-
your specific questions? You've articulated a few, we've answered them. But you know, at some point, you actually have to be a productive member of this council
Mm.
and tell us what you actually think when we go to closed session.
Right.
Other than you want to
It's the
commit.
game system, folks. You show up to closed session. Nobody has any idea what's happening except for the mayor and except for the borough administrator and perhaps the clerk. And that's all that happens. Then they
Look,
force you to
let
make
me
a
ask Mr.
decision.
Bernstein.
Then they
Mr.
say, well, what
Bernstein.
are you going to do? We've already, okay, hold on a second, Mr. Mayor, because I'm not,
Well, you know what, Mr. Bernstein, in closed session, do we exclude people? Do we exclude information from people?
In executive session, no.
in executive session. I like the answer. In executive session. That's the problem.
That was the
okay?
question.
The question is
Bernstein doesn't
outside of
know-
executive session, it happens all the time, sir. So please don't lie to the public. I can't do my job effectively, people. That's
You're
really what
unable
this
to
comes
do
down
your
to.
job.
And I'm
But
telling
all
you
you
that I
do is
can't do my
gripe.
job effectively. And I'm
You're
You
unable.
know, I'd like to hear from Mr.
Mr. Katrubis. I am telling
it's
everybody
really a
publicly
shame,
right now,
Mr. Mayor. It's a shame of your.
Mr. Katrubis,
The shame of the mute
Mr.
button.
Wu,
You have
please
access,
weigh in.
you have access to everything.
Never.
Mr. Wu, are you there? Mr. Wu,
It's not true. It's a game system.
Councilman Wu.
I show up, I have no idea what's happening, and I'm forced to make decisions, all because, and it's a herd mentality. It's really shameful. It's
Okay, this is-
a complete waste of my time. It really
Yeah,
is.
this is So Young again.
Hold on,
So
Ms. Young, hold on. Mr. Katrubis, I am not able to tell you what to read and not to read.
Don't
I
give me
can't
that
do for
BS.
you. I can't tell you. Will you
It's a
relax?
complete lie, sir.
No, it's not.
Yes, it
If
is.
you
I
look
don't get
in your
any of the
inbox.
documents.
Your inbox will match my inbox.
Bernstein, why don't you weigh in on this?
Mr. Katrubis, your
I
inbox,
deserve a little bit more.
Mr.
I-
Katrubis, you can look at your,
Let's hear from Mr.
I'm not finished.
And let's hear from Mr. Wu.
You're lying
We
to the
should hear
public.
from the council president, and the mayor should, and let the
Mr.
council,
Gregorio, you keep interrupting me.
let the council talk.
I just
And
want
let
this
Mr.
council
Luciano-
to know that eventually,
Please,
We're
let's
gonna
go.
Mr. Di Gregorio, in fairness, I'm listening to all the comments here. I would prefer to use.
Yeah,
my-
well, what's your opinion?
Listen, I prefer to, this is gonna come to a vote, and there's gonna be, all of us will make our independent decisions. Okay?
You're awful quiet.
What question do you have? Would you like to cross-examine me?
No, I wouldn't, but I'd
No, we're not the mayor.
you're the council president. Bring some order to this meeting.
He was answering your question.
Obviously, nobody else can bring order to this meeting. You're take a little
You keep
responsibility.
interrupting everyone. This is public portion. We're supposed to be hearing from the public,
It's
not
public
from you.
portion. Let's move on. I'm
Unless
ready
you
to
want to
vote
speak.
on these resolutions. So-
okay, so just continue my question. So I mean, if Mayor, you are saying all the decisions, all the information is shared with everyone, but so what you are saying is what Councilman Contreras is saying is his access to information is limited, but since mayor and acting admin and certain people are more familiar with the matter, that's how the decisions are made. Is that correct?
Everyone has access to.
that's not true. I can give
That's
specific.
not true.
But listen,
they-
though,
when they-
we have
when
a
they-
borough to run.
May I give
okay?
specific examples?
Hold on a second. We have a borough to run. The information is available to every single council person.
Not true. May I give
By
specific
the way,
examples?
do you realize though, do you realize that affordable housing is not the only issue that the borough administrator,
I'm not asking for,
attorney-
I'm not asking for every,
I'm speaking, Mr. Katrubis.
I'd like to give,
We have the borough administrator, the borough attorney, and I deal with probably about 20 to 30 issues a day, okay? And I trust them to include me in things, and they trust me to include them. And by the end of the day, we've accomplished a great deal. And the borough and the residents of the borough should be very pleased with what we are doing. Now, Mr. Katrubis, who seems to have a lot of time on his hands, is welcome to participate more if he wishes.
I'm tired of you insulting me, Mr. Mayor. You know what you don't have, sir? Now, can I give specific examples? You know what you
Yes,
don't have?
please.
You don't have my vote, okay? Who authorized the release of Jedziniak? Was the council in on that? When you decided to go and
Dizniak, to answer your question.
Muted,
Yeah,
Tim.
quit.
stop. I'm not done. When you decided to sue the attorneys, right? Whose decision was that? Was I in on that? No. And then you decided to have that ratified after the fact.
We did, you know why?
No, I'm not done. You want specific
You
facts?
know
I'll
why?
give you more
No, so
facts. When
you
you
didn't-
decided
hold on
to
a
print
second.
out the order,
No, hold on a second. We had 4 attorneys.
you don't
who
like
didn't
the
give-
answers, right? You
No, I'm giving you the answer.
you like to insult.
No, here's the answer.
I
We
have-
had 4 attorneys who refused to give us information. It was really you who wanted us to get all this information any way possible, which we did. Are you objecting to us suing those attorneys to get the documents that we?
I'm objecting to the timeline and to the
If
process.
you
and
voted
how it
for
was
it, you
done,
could have
sir.
voted no.
Yes, I'm
You could have
objecting
voted
to
no.
certain things.
You could have
Okay.
voted no.
I didn't have a
You voted-
choice. It's like I said, it's a game.
No, you could vote no.
You
You have
show
a
up and you
choice.
say, I already
Be your
sued the
leader.
attorneys. Now I need your vote. What's going on here? And then you sit here and you lie to the public's face.
But that's a real bad example because then
It's not a bad example. It's the part.
it doesn't dovetail with your desire to sue.
I'm
the
sorry,
owners.
sir. You're pivoting
But,
now.
you know,
The perfect example. And you
we
keep
had-
cutting me off.
all right, look, we had, just to give the public a context here, we had 4 attorneys who refused for 2 years to give me any information regarding affordable housing.
That's not the point
Borough
here.
Council President Wu also. And
That's
and
not
by
the
the way,
point
Borough
here.
Council President Wu and I did speak about how to proceed with those.
That's not the
attorneys.
point here.
We
Mr. Mayor, can I make a motion to close the meeting?
We discussed it and,
That's not the
Just raise
point.
your
that I'm
hand and
making.
make a motion, right?
all right, look.
I second the motion. Second the,
Mayor, there's a
I'm
motion.
speaking. I have the floor, okay?
Oh, you can't
Mr.
talk to
Katrubis.
Mr. Bernstein.
Look,
second the motion. Second the motion.
look,
Mayor, motion to close the meeting takes precedent over all other
no,
motions.
I'm in the middle of a sentence. I'm not gonna be interrupted by a recalcitrant
Not
council.
any longer, Mr. Bernstein.
Motion to, second,
Mr. Katrubis,
second Glenn's motion.
What a joke.
There's a motion
can
on
I
the
finish
floor, Mayor.
speaking? Can I finish speaking, please?
There's a motion on the floor. Talk to
There's a
your
motion on
lawyer.
the floor. We can talk after, like you wanted me to
Mr.
wait.
DiGrigorio's in
Close the
the,
meeting to the public.
Mr. Luciano, you're in the waiting room too until I finish my statement. I've had enough, all right? Look, Mr. Katrubis, Councilman Wu is your borough council president. He and I discuss a lot more than you and I discuss.
Okay.
He and I agreed on what the procedures would be regarding those 4 attorneys, which you agreed to. So this is a real
I
bad
agree
example.
because
This is a real bad example for you, okay? For whatever reason, you're angry.
I'm not, no.
Angry at
you're-
everybody, and I'm not responsible
one
for
that's
your
angry.
anger. I'm
you
not
don't like
responsible.
The fact that I'm calling you out. What you don't like is another.
I don't like people interrupting me, so I've had enough. There's 3
This
people
is
in
a
the
bad
room.
look, Mayor.
Mayor,
You know what, guys?
Terrible look. You should close the meeting.
there's a
It is-
motion on the floor to close the meeting in a second.
They wanted to close public portion, not the meeting. He corrected it.
No,
Well, here's the thing. Councilman Wu and I deal with everything together. I'm letting
Best
it
for-
back in.
Wah, wah.
All right. There's
You know what?
another
It's one thing
member
to
of the
be
public
muted,
with a hand
but
up.
bumped out of a meeting is disgraceful.
Why did I get bumped out of the meeting?
Under
You are a
Robert's
disgrace.
rules, under Robert's
No,
rules,
You're a
I'm
no
allowed-
disgrace.
idea.
It's
You're a
disgraceful that you
disgrace.
throw me out of the
Chapter
meeting.
15 of
It really
Robert's
is
rules.
disgraceful.
That's right, Tim. Welcome to our world. There
You're
was a motion.
insulting.
This is not a democracy.
Disgraceful. You're a
there
terrible
a-
leader, sir, and you should be ashamed of yourself.
Mr.
The public
Luciano,
doesn't.
I agree with that,
What is the
Tim.
motion?
Okay,
then?
good.
so
Guys,
what's the,
I like
what's
your
the
caucus.
motion?
Stop.
What
This
is
is
the
nothing
motion?
more than a game system, the Mario Kranjak show, okay?
Enough of you.
Can we get a
really.
clarification?
Enough of
on the
you,
motion,
enough of
Mr.
you.
Really, I mean,
Luciano?
Can we get a
You
clarification
know how
on being
difficult
bumped
it
out of a
is to
meeting
hurt
as a
cats?
council
Ma-
member?
Is
All
a
right.
mo- is-
You
I
just
want a
don't like the
motion.
fact that there's
Public
another
What is the
strong
motion?
individual in the room that
I want a
tells it
motion
the
to
way
close
it
the
is.
public portion.
You already have it, and you have a second, and you
All in
ignored it.
favor?
No, but what is the motion?
The
Motion to close
the public
public.
portion.
I guess we didn't hear the first time.
All
that
right,
we
so let me
motioned
tell
and
everybody
seconded
this. This is maybe the last Zoom meeting we're having. Everybody's gonna go
it.
show up,
Hallelujah,
and we're going to do
Good.
it the old-fashioned way, okay? If you're
hallelujah.
unable to really.
About time.
All right, so all in favor?
Aye.
Anyone opposed?
May I be allowed to speak now or no?
No,
I think it should be. No,
Thank you, Mr. Mayor.
no.
Very
you see what's
kind.
on
I
the
appreciate
agenda.
that. You make me wait for an hour and 10 minutes, and then I can't speak. So wait till later, and then we won't let you speak.
Go
That's
ahead.
fair of you.
I asked you for a minute so I could see the agenda, all right?
No, you said no.
Because I'm not chewing while we're doing this meeting. I'm actually running the meeting.
No, you're blowing hard.
stop muting Glenn. Stop muting Councilman
I heard
Luciano.
I heard the word blowing. I didn't like it. He's in the waiting room.
Take him, you know what? You are not being a Democrat.
I'm
You're
a
not being
Democrat.
democratic.
Okay?
You're not being fair.
All right, so Mr. Luciano, if you're able to
You
articulate.
are barring freedom of speech.
No, I'm not.
I'm
No, actually, I'm
very
not.
well
I'm
able to
following
Come on,
Robert's
articulate.
rules of order.
You're suppressing.
No, you don't follow
free
any
speech.
rules except your own.
All right, I'm following Robert's rules of order. If the two of you cannot come under control and behave professionally, you will be put in the
Behaving
waiting room.
under control. Okay, I've only been waiting for an hour. Am I allowed to have
Mr.
a few
Luciano,
minutes?
go ahead.
Am I able to have a few minutes without being without being muted or disrupted?
Let's hear what you have to say.
That's what I thought. So just to cover a few different things that were discussed in the last hour that I wasn't permitted to speak. First off, we have a budget. We have an operating budget and appropriation budget that the town votes on. We have a capital budget that gets submitted with that budget. Okay? So to answer someone's question who asked before about what we were voting on is the bond ordinance, the authorization to go out for funding of our capital budget that was previously approved, okay? Tonight, we had at least 3 council members who had requested that the capital bond ordinance, the bond ordinance be separated, okay? We voted down the budget last week because I think what Councilman Contrubis was alluding to or was directly saying, and not that it was a confusion of what the issue was with the $1.7 million. What Councilman Contrubis was saying is that we have $1.7 million sitting in the budget that we continued the hearing from last week or the week before, I don't remember the exact date. So the $1.7 million that's in the operating budget, Tim, please, Councilman, please correct me if I'm wrong. He is saying that we have that $1.7 million sitting there that we don't have to go out and pay interest on. That's what I believe Councilman Contrubis was referring to. And why don't we transfer some of that money from that legal line to cover the money he wants and he supports, and we probably all support. I have questions on it, like spending $245,000 to put lights on the tennis court that we don't own the property. Okay, so that's what I believe Councilman Contrubis was referring to. We voted down the bond ordinance last week because we had questions about the $1.7 million in the legal fees that we're against. okay? And that Councilman Katrubis has said directly that he thinks the $1.7 million would be better utilized on the field improvements than going out and bonding and paying interest on a bond ordinance for loan that you pay money back on when we have the money sitting there that we won't have to pay interest on, okay? So for Mrs. O'Shea to say she was disappointed in us because we're holding you hostage. No, we're not holding the public hostage. The three council members tonight asked to please split the capital bond ordinance. And you know what we were told? No, we are not doing that. Okay, that's what the mayor told us. And you know what? That's part of the problem, because we're trying to put none of us are against the public safety. None of us are against the DPW. None of us are against, you know what, the 911 systems that need to be upgraded. So don't try to lump us in with saying, you know what, we're against all this. And the mayor's going to tell you we're backtracking. We're not backtracking. You know what? I'm happy as a pig in mud right now because I'm even allowed to speak more than 10 seconds. Okay. But you know what? Don't label us with that. And Councilman Katrubis is 100% correct. We don't get the information. It seems as though, you know what? Things are decided. Councilman Katrubis,
10 days.
Councilman Katrubis and Mr. Bernstein had
been on council for 10 days.
before.
I don't get the information. I'm sorry. I don't get it.
Can I please speak?
And if people think I have a motive to lie, there's nothing else I can say. I don't get the information. It's shameful.
There was a colloquy before.
You know that, Mr. Bernstein. You know it.
Councilman and Mr. Bernstein made reference to an email.
You know I don't.
Okay, that Councilman Katrubis sent to Mr. Bernstein. We never saw that email. Never. So the information is not all shared. When we send email, Councilman Katrubis is 100% correct. We got to send it to the borough administrator that then filters it out to different people. So I agree with him 100%.
May I please ask what happened to Mr. Jedziniak? Can somebody explain that?
And I appreciate you, Mr. Katrubis. I'm just trying to get in before the mayor cuts me off or kicks me out of the meeting. And I would like to see that email because you know what? We never seen that email.
Mr. Luciano, where would the $1.7 million expense, where would that come from in the future when you actually incur that expense if you're shifting money somewhere else?
Well, that's something we would have to work on because you know what's going to happen. We're going to have a meeting very soon with the court. And I think we're all going to realize that, you know what, the 1.7 million might be a moot point, and we might have excess of funds in that line, $1 million possibly, I believe what I heard previously from LG that was put into that line that we might not need. So even if it's $1 million, you know what? That's $1 million of the 1.3 that we want to spend on the field. But my question would be about the capital, the ordinance, the bond ordinance and funding, again, spending $245,000 on lights on property we don't own, we lease. So that's one of the concerns. So why don't you tell us why we cannot split the bond ordinance besides that, because you just don't want to do it.
No, you just answered your own question, because then the money that you were going to use the $1.7 million for is not going to be there any longer. And I know you don't want to use that money for litigation because you're happy with the affordable housing settlement that
you're not answering the question.
No, I'm answering it. You
don't
want to spend it on the $1.7 million of litigation fees. Borough Administrator McMorrow, can you answer his question also, please?
Yeah, I have a lot of answers to a lot of statements, and I would like to be given the opportunity, Mayor, to speak, if I may. Mr. Councilman, sorry, okay. Councilman Luciano, and I appreciate your questions. I know you have only been here for about 10 days, and there's a lot of back explanations that you were not privy to. I'm going to try and shoot off the answers as in short order here. Number
Well,
one,
Mrs. McMorrow, I'm going to interrupt you real quick because my question to the mayor is why, and you answered it as well in closed session.
but
Your answer was is that we can't split it. So my question
no,
before you go on
excuse me, no,
is why
excuse me.
can't we split
No,
the
no, no.
capital budget?
No,
Why
stop.
can we not?
Time out.
No timeout. I asked the question and you
Okay,
tried to
one at a
go
time,
somewhere
please.
else.
Mayor, please, this is not effective.
Please answer my question.
Let Mr. Luciano finish and then you can.
He
Please
did
answer.
finish.
I'm gonna take a pause right now because I'm trying to get an answer from you, Mr. Mayor. Besides telling us that it can't, you're not gonna do it. Why can the bond ordinance not be split up? Because you know what? I think if you would have presented it last week with all the public safety stuff that you want to say, not you, but the public said we're holding people hostage. I think that part of it would have 100% passed last week. So three of us asked you tonight on a different.
Yeah, I'm going to answer you. My understanding.
You're muted again. You didn't let him finish. You did not let him finish.
And then he won't let me answer it, so he's muted.
Let him finish the question.
My understanding from bond counsel is that it's got to be done all together. And shifting the 1.7 into the bond ordinance doesn't work because then you don't have it where you need it in the operating budget. Ms. McMorrow, can you repeat the answer?
Yes, I can, but this constant interruption is not effective. And this is what happens. Stop, please, all of you. I mean, I have never witnessed anything like this. I'm going to
nobody
ask
should
you
tell
all,
any.
please, stop, Councilman DiGregorio. You ask questions, they're legitimate questions, but you don't allow the proper answer to come through. I want to just give you factual answers. I'm not here to make any decisions for all of you. All I can do is give you the facts, and then you all collectively make your decision. But unfortunately, some of you just don't like what the facts are. And some of the facts are that there are laws that need to be followed. And when those laws are brought to your attention, you get angry and you retaliate by sending out nasty emails to the town. And I'm going to address every single one of these statements tonight because it's outrageous what I'm listening to.
I didn't send out any emails, and right now we don't need to have your.
Excuse me, do not, Mayor, I'm going to ask to not be interrupted.
Keep using this word anger.
I have
presented you with anger? Why don't you
Mayor,
Someone mute the borough administrator.
Can the borough administrator finish answering the questions that Mr. Luciano asked to be answered?
Please, Kathy, what happened to the screen here? Okay. Mr. Luciano, what was said, and we're not supposed to talk about what was said in closed session, as you just cited.
Thank you for letting me back in the meeting.
Okay. We're not supposed to talk about what took place in closed session, but I'm going to give you an answer as I would in public that I'm allowed to answer. What I would state to your question is, tonight, that bond ordinance cannot be separated.
Tonight.
Hold on, please let me just, I need.
Tonight only.
All right, Mr. Luciano.
I just
have an inherent ability to let someone finish.
Okay.
Do you?
Last week, three of you voted down the capital bond ordinance. It's your prerogative to vote any way you would like. You also did not place Councilman Katrubis's, you did vote on Councilman Katrubis's resolution and it failed. The mayor asked with Councilman Wu to have another special meeting. The meeting time was sent with the purpose of capital ordinance being reintroduced and the effort to rectify the language with Mr. Councilman Katrubis's resolution. Tremendous amount of effort went into getting all of this done. None of you, and I will say not one of you, emailed myself and said, I would like you to separate the capital ordinance. We want it separated out. Had you done that, there would have been the ability to discuss it with bond counsel and get it ready. But to say that tonight.
So it can be done.
Stop. Please, Councilman.
I just want to know what can be done.
Anything can be done if it's within the law.
Well, good,
But
let's do it then.
what you cannot do is give a false narrative to the public, which is what certain members of this council are doing right now. They are lying to the public.
Like who?
And
Who's
I
lying?
have
Who's lying?
an obligation. I have an obligation, if I hear mistruths to the public, as the administrator, to speak out. I also should be able to speak out without the fear of retaliation or harassment by Councilman Katrubis, which
Here we
has
go.
been happening on an ongoing basis.
Let's stick to the
Mayor,
facts, please.
I am going to stick to these facts, but the public are making comments, and I'm not going to sit by and let these mistruths happen any longer.
I don't know what this has to do with my question.
Councilman,
of splitting the
excuse
bond.
me,
Let's stick to the
Councilman
budget, please.
Luciano.
I don't know
brought
what
up-
this has to do with splitting
It
the
has,
bond ordinance.
it has,
All right, Ms. McMorro,
I don't
stick
know
to the
what this
budget
has to
only.
do with splitting the bond ordinance.
Stick to the budget only. Go ahead, Ms. McMorro. Unmute yourself, Ms. McMorro. Just stick to the budget.
Mayor, Mr. Geist is on this call. Mr. Katrubis has making several references to
Your Honor.
reasons why he is
This has
voting.
nothing to
And
do
I
with
am,
my question.
Only the budget, nothing
I'm
else.
sorry, did I say anything?
Only the
Mr.
budget.
Geis, you're listening.
Only the budget, please. Everyone, just stick to the budget. Mr. Luciano raised the issue of splitting the bond ordinance into parts.
And you
I
you
answered
said
that
you
that's
weren't
not
doing it.
possible, and Ms. McMorro was answering as well. You know, it's funny how we get to these meetings and all of a sudden everybody wants to do things differently. Where were you since last week, if this is what you wanted? Where were you? It's not entertaining when you just call us and say, can you consider doing this? You have to wait till there's 50 people in a Zoom meeting to ask us
Well,
to do things like
with
that.
all due respect,
We could just do
Mr.
it like
Mayor,
this, right?
I'm not
Just like that.
permitted to speak in a meeting, but I'm supposed to call.
Hold on. Ms. McMorro, finish and stay to the point.
Don't speak in a meeting, but call me. Yeah, okay.
No, that's not what I said. You're asking us to do like 30 hours of work at a 2-hour meeting.
I didn't ask any work
Yeah,
except can the
all right.
bond ordinance be split?
Ms. McMorro, please finish and stick to the point.
That's all three of us asked.
I see the public's got their hand raised, but the
Mayor, I'm trying to answer, but I'm not being
I make a
allowed.
motion to accept Tim's ad hoc housing
Please, somebody was in the middle of a discussion here.
and a
Answer the-
motion takes precedence.
There's no motion.
I make them, look, my hands up.
Am I being
We're
denied the
interrupting.
ability? to speak?
Second the motion. Second the motion. Mr.
All right, so
Bernstein?
Mr. Luciano, then I suspect that you're satisfied with the answers that you received from me and from Councilwoman, from Borough Administrator McMorro, because you've now changed the subject to making a motion. And you
No,
made a
what
motion.
I'm not satisfied with is being kicked out of the meeting repeatedly.
Well, what I'm not satisfied is with you interrupting me all the time, so please.
You've muted him again. You've
This is
muted
not
him again.
easy here.
And I
Let
get
him
kicked
finish.
out of the meeting.
All right. There was a motion made. I'm not sure which resolution you're moving on. So enlighten us, somebody.
Since I made the motion, I believe I'm allowed to speak, right?
What is your motion?
My
What
motion
is
is
your
to
resolution?
accept the final resolution that Councilman Katrubis sent to us, or that the attorney sent to us for the ad hoc housing committee, that the ad hoc housing, whatever you want to, whatever, we're here for two things tonight. The bond ordinance and Councilman Katrubis's resolution. Whatever one you guys want to pick, whatever one is the final one, I believe it has with 4 members. The final one that I got from Mrs. McMorrow today, which we've had about 17 different gyrations. So if that answers your question, that was what I moved before I got kicked out of the meeting.
I sent you 2. I was sent 2 draft forms. I have no idea.
I would
Which one?
defer to Councilman Katrubis, whatever one he was referring to, or our borough attorney.
As the one that I had redlined with affordable housing and market rate units in there, because Mr. Bernstein has no issues with it. And that was my
I move
point
it.
exactly.
I move it.
That's fine. I have an issue with that.
I move it.
I just want to be clear. Does Mr. Bernstein, you don't have any issues with it, right, sir?
My issues or non-issues are not an issue here, and I don't know why I keep getting dragged in as if I have issues. My issues are right. The issue, Councilman, with the market rate units came from the mayor.
Okay, I just want to make
Therefore-
sure that it's not a legal issue, and that's all I'm trying to make. I want the public to understand. It was created and fabricated out of thin air, and we wasted all this time. And the mayor,
Councilman?
okay, not by you, not by you. I'm sorry. I'm
No,
sorry.
no. I'm the drafter of the resolution. I've been the drafter of the resolution all along.
No. Okay.
Did I finish?
Yes.
The market rate issue has been in there from day one. So I didn't fabricate it. I'm getting tired of hearing about fabrication. It was not written to conform to one of the many orders that Judge Farrington has entered over the last 3 years. It was in there. Nobody said a word about it until the mayor raised the issue Wednesday night. It was taken out. If you want to put it back in and you got a motion and a second and the vote, take it. My call is not an issue.
Thank you, sir. I just want to make sure, and I, again, my apologies to you if you thought that I was saying that you were fabricating. That's not the case. I want to be clear about that. It was the mayor that was fabricating this, and I'll
No,
leave it at that.
no. I wasn't fabricating anything.
I have the floor.
I have a voice, and I don't like the market-based unit rates in that resolution.
But it's part of.
That's not fabricating. That's
It's
me
part of
being a leader, unlike you being a follower.
You created.
There's a motion on the floor,
You
gentlemen. and
created a
second.
problem.
That's correct. There's a
You
motion
created
on
a
the floor.
problem.
There's a
No.
motion on the floor
Listen.
to,
Let me finish.
There's a motion on the
If I
floor.
don't agree with something, I'm not going to sit here like a lemming and listen to this
But you
nonsense.
follow Robert Rules of Order.
I didn't say that you should.
You're saying I fabricated things, and I didn't. So be careful with your words, Mr. Katrubis.
Oh,
You've gotten yourself into enough trouble in one day.
Can I clarify?
You
No,
follow Robert
take the
Rules of
vote.
Order.
Why?
Take the vote.
Point of order.
the motion on the floor.
I just
Correct
have
me
a
if I'm,
question.
correct me if
The
I'm
point
wrong,
of order has to be
Councilman.
recognized, like I was told last week.
I
So the
recognize
motion on-
Mr. Wu.
I have a
There you
question.
go, Mayor.
We've, this resolution, last time we had a meeting, I brought up the issue of 4 persons on this committee. I just want to make sure there's 2 versions of it. I know Councilman Katrubis has the black line version. Is the black line version, I believe, says 5 persons. I just want to confirm.
I
Yes,
believe that's a point of inquiry and not a point of order. We should start to follow Robert's Rules of Order properly.
Well, if
the
that's
motion,
case,
the motion on the floor is to approve the draft that Councilman Katrubis put together that was black lined, circulated to all of you last Wednesday, and is still in effect. Correct, Councilman Lucy? You're gonna have to be unmuted for this, Your Honor. Councilman Luciano, that's your motion?
It's the one with the.
Thank you again for allowing me to be unmuted. I greatly appreciate it. That's my motion.
And I believe there's a second from Councilman Di Gregorio.
Correct.
There you go.
And I'll answer your other question in a minute, Councilman. After the vote. To vote,
I just wanted to know which one is the one that we're voting on.
The
because
one being
I
voted
received
on is
two
the
this
one-
afternoon.
right, the one that's marked up that's not clean is Councilman Katrubis's resolution. That's the one you're voting on.
Red in there.
That's the one you're voting on. I don't know if it's red or black.
That's the one that we're
one.
voting on.
Correct.
Now it's up to you, Mayor, to call for a vote, which you usually do very quickly without discussion. So I'm just waiting.
Actually, your sarcasm is lost on me. There's a motion. There's a
Sure
second,
is. So
and
is yours.
I-
Yours is
I already
lost on
asked-
me all the time.
Because you were interrupting me before, you probably didn't hear me ask for the vote. So note to self, if you stop interrupting, you would have heard me say, let's have a vote. And then Mr. Wu had an issue, so we dealt with that. Then Mr. Farrow had an issue, we dealt with that. And now
And
we're at
that's
the
why you
vote.
need to recall for the vote.
No,
Okay. So we'll just wait.
I've called for the vote.
Well, I
Mr.
guess your
Morrow-
acting
Mr.
borough
Morrow,
clerk needs
can
to
you-
call the vote.
Can you take the roll call, please?
Yes, No one read the title. No one read a resolution
It
number.
has to be read.
We
I
don't
mean,
know it.
Resolution
Thank
number
you.
21-25, a resolution of the Borough of Englewood Cliffs, County of Bergen, State of New Jersey, resolution creating an ad hoc Borough Housing
The
Committee.
one that I have, it doesn't have a number.
Now you
The
have a
numbers
number.
being, the numbers
We're
being
adding it.
assigned, it's 125.
21, 25?
125, Ramon. As it's set forth on the agenda.
Council President Wu,
Dun, 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 dun.
Sorry, I'm reviewing it. Just give me a second. Okay, I'm gonna vote yes.
Count- Councilman Farrow,
No,
Councilman Park,
Yes.
Councilman Luciano,
Yes.
Councilman Di Gregorio,
Yes.
Councilman Katrubis,
Yes.
passes Mayor.
Motion carries. Mayor,
Mr.
may
Mayor,
Mayor,
Mr.
may
Mayor,
I-
I have a motion.
Wait, did somebody else had the floor?
Second,
Mr. Bernstein, go ahead.
second the motion.
You don't even know what you're expecting.
May I answer Councilman Luciano's question,
Yes, please go ahead.
which I assume he would like an answer to? Could you unmute him, Your Honor, please?
Good answer his question.
Councilman, there's a bond ordinance, which is the next item on the agenda as drafted. The governing body could not, at last week's meeting, choose to take any action other than what the bond ordinance was for. It's on tonight. If the governing body were to vote it down for introduction tonight, another bond ordinance could come back with specific issues, but it can't happen tonight. And I believe Mrs. McMorrow has been trying to say that, and I've been trying to say that.
Thank you.
And I know you've been asking the question, and hopefully there's your answer.
Well,
Thank you,
with
Mr.
all due
Bernstein.
respect, sir, what I didn't like in closed session and here tonight was that the mayor and our borough administrator had a definitive answer that we have to do this because that's what they were going to do.
Not what I
Not
said.
because
No.
No, may I? The
Sure.
answer was you couldn't make the changes to the resolution on the agenda this evening
Thank
because the
you.
ordinance is drafted in its entirety.
Thank
If
you.
the governing body were to determine,
I'm going to point at you. How do I do
you can point, if the governing body chooses
That's
to
not
vote
true.
on the bond ordinance tonight, they can instruct the administrator to come back with a new bond ordinance limited to. Glenn, I'm all kinds of
Listen,
things.
I understand, Mr. Bernstein. Listen, and with all
It's
due
Eric,
respect,
it's Eric.
you, but we're in public, so I like to call you officially
That's
Mr.
fine.
Burke. But Eric, listen, I think that there might be some differences of opinion on the answer. I know that's why you are what you do, and you're making it very nice for us and the public. But that's not the answer that I heard. Okay, so
Well,
with all due respect, I appreciate you and I appreciate your answer, but what you just said isn't going to change the way that I felt I was told before. So I think with all due respect to everyone, without this, I don't want to see, since it's already, we can split this bond ordinance to do it the right way, because I think no one wants to hurt the police or the DPW or the town with the 911. It can be done.
Not
Okay,
tonight.
I've only been here.
It cannot be
Mrs.
done.
McMorrow,
I asked
please,
Mr.
Mrs.
No,
McMorrow, you don't
excuse
like
me.
to be interrupted? Please don't interrupt me.
But I spoke to
But
Mr.
please don't
Rogan.
interrupt me. Please, please, please don't interrupt me. Okay?
I had
know
my
it
hand
can't
up
be-
for an
I
hour.
know my hand up was up for an hour. So
Well-
I understand. No one has to tell me again that it can't be done tonight. I'm well aware of that. And if the consensus is that we want to split the vote, we asked before, 3 of us, so that's at least 3 of us that have a concern and wanted to have it split. And we were told it can't be done. No one ever said, until I asked out here a little while ago, because I know it can be split. But the answer that we were told previously is that no. And what we were told definitively by Mr. Mayor is that this is the way we're doing it. Okay? That's what I take offense to. Just like I take offense to being repeatedly muted, having to wait 50 minutes to talk, being kicked out of the meetings, that I take offense to too. Okay? So my personal opinion is we should split it. Okay, keep all the public safety stuff. So you know what, we can't have this dog and pony show and go running back to the police chief and the fire chief and saying what bad people we were as council persons for voting it down. And Miss O'Shea to say that, you know what, we're holding the town hostage and we're doing injustice to the town. We don't want to do injustice to the town. What we don't want to have is stuff rammed down our throat without having a discussion on it, being brought to the table when there's already decision made. There's no discussion. Why do we have to have discussion with the borough administrator? We should have discussion just like we are now if the mayor would so graciously allow us to speak without being muted. Okay, this is when the discussion should happen. And I greatly understand that, you know what, it can't be done tonight. It can't be done tonight. But you know what? I'm going to make the motion that we table this and recommend to the borough administrator that they go back to bond council and split out the field and leave all the public safety stuff in, because I think my answer from the police chief earlier was the issue that we had is not going to be resolved by June 1st. So that's my motion.
Second the motion. Second the motion.
For discussion purposes, look, Mr. Luciano, you can make whatever motions you want, but one thing you can't do is you can't lie to the public.
Thank you.
You've been here, I'm muting you. You've been here 10 days.
Has nothing to do with it.
This work has been undergoing for months, okay? So don't make it sound like you weren't given information or had the ability to.
You can vote it down, Mr. Mayor. I didn't say I wasn't giving.
No, I didn't interrupt.
I didn't say I wasn't.
I did not interrupt you when you spoke.
I didn't say.
I did not interrupt you. And as much as you complain about being interrupted, you're very, very good at interrupting everyone else.
Motion on the floor.
Let me finish, please.
The motion on the floor.
Motion on the floor.
All right, you know what? I'm going to finish and put you in the waiting room, Mr. DiGregorio, Mr. Luciano, then you can come back in to vote. I made everything available to you. So don't make it sound to the public that you've been in the dark. The one thing I can't make you do, Mr. DiGregorio, is read. Read what you've been given, ask the questions. I know it's not as entertaining to do it in between meetings as it is to come to the meeting and just grandstand. A lot of work went into this. And this is the way we've always done it in town, to my recollection, is we had a bond ordinance to purchase things for the town. I noticed that while the police are going to get under your scenario what they need in the fire department, there's a lot of other very important things that aren't being addressed by splitting this up, including the lights for the athletic fields, which have been a project that's been going on too long. I wish more of the coaches and parents actually spoke about that tonight, but they didn't, although they did indicate to me that they are well behind us in doing that and support it. Ms. McMorrow, go ahead.
Okay, two things, Mayor. The president of the Little League emailed me a statement. If the council allows it to be read, I will read it on their behalf. That's number one. Number two, I thank you for allowing me to respond to the comments about the capital ordinance, because in Councilman Luciano saying to the public that he's not getting information and this is being rushed through and that it's not being done properly, that is indirectly talking about, as I'm the one that prepared this with the council president and the finance committee, that's talking about my job performance, which I did everything that the council president And the majority, including Councilman Katrubis, along with Councilman Wu, who was 100% in favor of having the lights put and the improvements to Whitty Field put into this ordinance. Councilman Luciano, there were numerous meetings about these discussions. There were the Finance Committee meeting discussions. There were 2 budget workshops that we held. There was the introduction to the budget. There was the introduction to the first bond ordinance. All of this was done. It was all discussed. So to say you're not getting the information, you are. All the council people are getting the information. What happened here now is you are asking to change it. That's your right. But it's not fair to infer that you're not getting it and there's not been a proper vetting and proper discussion. As the police chief informed you, there have been many, many meetings on this. And in answer, Councilman, to your statement that you're not getting all the emails, you are not allowed to violate the Open Public Meetings Act. More than 3 people cannot be on an email and correspond back and forth. Mr. Bernstein's on this call, on the meeting. Mr. Diani sent another letter out. All of you have to be constantly reminded not to violate the Open Public Meetings Act. And that's why all of you are not always on all of these emails. I don't know who the borough attorney is communicating with, not with. That's between all of you. If someone gives me a direction to do something, I do it. You want to give me a direction? I'm going to do it. But don't tell me that I'm not providing you all with information when you ask it to me. You sent me eight emails, Councilman Luciano, yesterday. I'm still working on them. I got 3 done. I've got more, 5 more to finish. But whatever you're asking me for, I'm telling you, I'll get it. If it exists, I'll get it for you. Some of the things don't exist that you're asking for. You're asking for columns to be created in programs that don't have that capability. Unfortunately,
I'm going to bring you a report that shows you it has. I have other reports that it has, so
listen,
that's all right.
Okay, but I'm going by the owner of Unidex,
I'm
who's
just
telling
letting
me.
you know.
Okay, well, you know what? You're more than welcome to call him directly, but to make the comments that you're not getting the information.
Mrs. McMorrow, I didn't say I wasn't getting information.
Let her finish, please.
Okay, well, on the bond ordinance, all I'm saying.
Don't mute me, please.
She's speaking.
But what I don't appreciate taking place here, okay, is the fact that we put all this work into it. Everybody was ready to vote for it. And unfortunately, Councilman Katrubis, because he didn't get his way last week, threatened that he's not going to have his vote unless I was going to be fired. And that's the truth of it. And shame on all of you. Shame on every, well, I'm telling you right now.
That's an issue that we dealt with outside of this meeting. Stick to the budget.
Oh, that was an issue that never had any conversation.
I'm sorry. Can I speak to that, please?
No,
I never heard of that.
I never heard that. Tim, Councilman Katrubis, did you ever hear that?
I never heard that.
I'm sorry. Hold on a second.
I don't know if the caucus wants to caucus, leave the meeting.
I never heard that.
Come back, but don't do it in front of everybody else.
The mayor, it was the
Mr.
mayor.
McMorrow, please finish. Mr. Katrubis, you don't have the floor. She was speaking. Are you done?
I want the floor, though. I want the floor.
Ms. McMorrow, are you done with the budget?
Mr. Katrubis the floor.
Ms. McMorrow, unmute yourself. But don't speak about what he did or didn't do to you.
That's fine, but well,
because you guys did that outside of council.
I don't know what Councilman Katrubis did, but I'm tired of being harassed. Okay.
So,
troops incoming by Carol.
Mayor.
Here we go.
Right.
Mayor.
You got us, Ms. McMorrow. I know what he did was offensive.
No, it's not offensive. He violated.
You can't.
Your Honor.
My rights have been violated too.
Yeah, of course. All right.
There's a motion on the table, Your Honor, to table ordinance number 2021-11.
Right. And I heard Di Gregorio seconded it.
Yes.
And let's have a vote.
It's not table. Just make sure that everybody understands.
This is a motion to table the bond ordinance.
Which it should be voted
we have a
for
second.
tonight.
Yeah. And
Since
so
I was kicked out of the meeting, and now I just got back. If someone could please
this
explain
is
to
the
me what we're
motion.
doing.
It's your motion.
Because
to
you want
table-
everybody's
Your
rights
motion to
be
table
followed.
the bond ordinance. I'm sorry, it's hard for you to hear because you're talking over me, I know.
It's hard to,
This is a bond ordinance.
when I'm out of,
In a motion,
when I'm out of the meeting.
there's a motion. There's a second. And the motion is to table the bond ordinance. Can we have a vote, please, Mrs. McMorrow?
Yes, sir. Council President Wu,
I believe more than enough information has been shared with the members of the council to make their vote on this. So no to tabling.
Councilman Farrow,
No to table.
Councilman Park,
I want to make sure about this one. This is a separate or full in the budget? This is a.
no,
separate-
this motion is to the motion is to table the ordinance tonight. Yes or no?
No.
But we can split it.
No.
Yeah, so we can split it.
The motion,
We
guys,
already
the
voted.
motion is a motion to table the.
I already voted.
He
Okay,
voted.
yeah.
I wrote it. Thank you.
There's 3 no's. Please continue with the votes. Mr. Di Gregorio, Mr. Luciano, no more
I
interruptions.
am trying to, Mayor. Councilman Luciano,
Motion to table, I made it. My vote is yes.
Councilman Di Gregorio,
My vote is yes, table it.
Councilman Katrubis,
Vote yes to table it. There's too many shenanigans going on in the back scenes.
here we go again.
So, yep, watch what you wish for, gentlemen.
Mr. Katrubis,
Mayor.
the use of the word shenanigans puzzles me. What is a shenanigan? You voted to approve this.
Yeah,
a month
the
ago.
shenanigans, Mr. Mayor, and I don't
Vote,
understand
Mr.
why
Mayor,
the
we're in the
borough
middle of a
administrator.
vote.
And I just
Vote,
want to make
Mr. Mayor,
sure,
we're in the
I
middle
just
of
want
a
to make
vote.
sure of a few things, right? I don't
Vote,
understand.
Mr. Mayor,
why
we're in the
she's
middle of a vote.
insinuating things about me. And Mr. Geist is there, and she used words like threatened and mentioned the.
All right, you're not addressing my
You're
question.
muted, Tim.
You're not addressing my question, Mr.
So
Katrubis.
vote,
You
Mr.
called it
Mayor.
shenanigans. You voted for this a month ago, and now all of a sudden,
Shenanigans, sir?
because
Are
you
you
have your new
blocking
caucus buddies,
information?
you're voting.
Are you blocking
with them.
information?
Your
Mr.
Honor,
Bernstein, can you
Until
call
that
for the
gets
vote?
cleared up.
I
I
make
am
a
Mr.
vote.
Luciano.
It's a tie vote.
Mayor,
Yeah, so you get the vote.
No.
There you go. So now, someone better move it and you watch what you wish.
You don't have the floor, Mr. Luciano. Is there a
okay,
motion
I make
to,
a motion to vote on that,
the motion to introduce the
to
ordinance?
introduce the, yeah. to
Is there a
introduce.
second?
Second.
Do I have a roll call?
second, is
please?
that second by Council President Wu?
Yes. Have a-
And this is for 2021-11
This is
Yes,
for introduction of 2021-11.
bond ordinance.
Can I just ask a question, Eric? If it gets introduced, can it be amended between introduction and passage?
Not unless you reintroduce it.
Okay.
With a public hearing on June 9th.
I'm-
Council President Wu,
I support bonding all of these expenditures. It's 5% down, and I don't support us using our budget to pay off these type of improvements or these amount of improvements. So I vote yes.
Councilman Farrow,
these are things to be bonded, so I vote yes.
Councilman Park,
Yes.
Councilman Luciano, Cal, I think he has to unmute himself. Hold on.
Unmute yourself. You're not muted.
I'm asking him to unmute.
He's been able to unmute himself all night. Now all of a sudden he can't, so.
I'm trying, I
You
mean,
can unmute yourself, sir. Stop playing games.
okay, yeah, he's not unmuting himself, Mayor.
Well, you know what? He's been unmuting himself
Okay,
endlessly all evening. And now
Okay.
all of a sudden he can't, because this is the game that he plays. Go ahead,
Coun-
Mr.
Coun-
Luciano.
Councilman Di Gregorio,
No,
Councilman Katrubis,
You know, if I had assurances from the mayor that the shenanigans would stop, I'd really like to work with you, Mr. Mayor. I really would, but you just.
Mr. Trubus, you saying that there's shenanigans is just lost on me because you just say things, but you don't back up anything.
Can we get a
You
vote,
don't back up
please?
anything.
We're in the middle of a
There are
vote.
no shenanigans. You're not
We're in the
Yes,
muted.
there
middle
is,
of
sir.
a
You
vote.
don't, you
Mayor,
exclude me, and I'm very concerned that
Katrubis,
you're gonna pull the
you
same
had
thing.
everything available to you on this
That's not
budget
true.
since January.
That's not true.
Mayor,
No, I know. You just
We're
want
in the middle of
attention.
a
That's
vote.
fine.
No, I don't want
Mayor,
attention.
we're in the middle of a
want-
vote.
I want what the people voted me in to do, okay? To be involved in this process. That's what I
It
want.
is your job to approve the budget for this borough.
I
And the
understand
only
that.
shenanigans I'm seeing are from you, Mr. Katrubis, tonight.
No, I'm sorry. Look,
You got
again,
your
your
resolution.
behavior, Mr. Mayor.
My behavior.
Yes, your
You got
behavior.
your
Really?
We're in the middle
resolution.
of a vote.
I don't write those poison pen
We're in the
emails to the
middle
town the
of
way
a
you do.
vote.
Your Honor, we're in the middle of a vote, please.
You enjoyed them when I was
I
taking
know.
down
We're also in the middle of
Democrats.
something else
Katrubis,
here.
yes or
You enjoyed
no?
them then, right? They
Sure
were
are.
great. Go for it, right, Tim?
Councilman, yes or no?
The answer is no. I'm sorry.
No, you're not
Mr.
sorry.
Lu-
You're not doing your
Mr.
job.
I'm
Luciano.
very
Sorry, yeah, you're
All right,
I'm
sorry.
very
so
sorry, sir. I am
Vote.
very.
Anyone who voted for you, you just disgraced yourself.
Mr.
Again.
Luciano,
I think
Thank you for your
once again,
professionalism once again.
that we should separate, even though Council President Wu thinks there's ample information, which there is. Okay, I never said that I wasn't getting information. What I said is that I think we should separate the vote because just like now, there's been no discussion. No one asked the question, even though I raised it before about $245,000 to be spent on the tennis courts when we don't even own them, and that can be taken away from us.
I can respond to that,
We
Councilman.
don't need you to
And
respond.
$10,000 to repair a
My vote's
scoreboard
no.
is
Okay. Okay,
3 in favor, 3 against, Mayor, your vote.
There is no split on the bond ordinance, sir.
Second
There is no
reading, not, second reading, not first.
I stand corrected. You're absolutely right, sir.
All right, Ms. McMorrow, before I vote, go ahead. I know you want to say something.
oh, I'm so sorry. I just
How
was,
was that vote?
I was just gonna answer his question about the $245,000 on the lights. We're not voting on the layout right now of what was going to be done at the field. It was just the amount of money that we were allocating, and then if it wasn't going to be used, it would just go back into the budget later on. So
You and I had a discussion on that. I'm aware of that, but I just didn't like that
okay,
aspect.
no, I just,
I'm going to raise my hand again because that's what the mayor says we should do. Mr. Mayor,
We're in a vote. I'm voting. I vote yes, and I want to thank Councilman Wu, Farrow,
I have a motion.
Park.
I have a
Motion.
motion, Mr.
No,
Mayor.
I'm
Motion on the
finishing
floor.
vote. I am finishing the vote, and our agenda is a special meeting agenda. You can't add anything to it. So
You
I
can
thank the
make a
councilman.
motion.
motions. Make a
No,
motion.
actually, on a special meeting, you can't. Now,
No, I just want to
You-
finish. I want to thank the councilmen here who actually did their jobs tonight. I appreciate it. Councilman Park, you're a leader. Councilman Farrow, you're a leader. Councilman Wu, you're a leader. The other guys, you're just obstructionists.
Mhm.
We put a lot of time and effort into this. Okay? So just, that's the takeaway. You know, I don't want to hurt children without having a proper field. I don't want to hurt police without having what they need, or fire. You guys have done it twice now in 1 week. Congratulations. Congratulations.
Mayor, can I make a couple of comments? Just,
Yes, go ahead.
I know Councilman Di Gregorio mentioned, William, why don't you have any opinion? I like to use my 2 ears and not my mouth. I listen to everybody. I don't.
Howdy, everybody.
Before
Kicked out again.
the meeting, I need my quiet time to digest everything, and I assure the public I make my own decisions. And I think we did the right thing for the town to pass the bond ordinance. We do have an affordable housing ad hoc committee now to get more resident input, and I'm happy. We went through a lot tonight, but I think we got a good result in the end, and I look forward to taking everything forward together with you guys. Let's try to work better as a team, please.
Thank you, Councilman Wu.
Mr. Mayor, I have a
Mr.
motion.
Bernstein, I have a question for Mr.
I have a motion.
Mr. Bernstein.
The motion, Mr. Luciano, doesn't apply. This is a special meeting. You can't add any items to the agenda.
Mr. Bernstein.
Okay, I have a point of inquiry.
In terms of,
Can I just mention something?
go ahead, Mr. Farrell.
I just wanted to mention to Mr. Luciano that this is a council meeting, that we should at least give the respect and dress up a little bit.
Yeah.
I still have a point of inquiry.
Well, I was in the middle of asking something and I need you to just stop for a minute so I could ask the question.
Well, I would if you didn't.
All right, Mr. Bernstein, the committee that was created, could you just walk us through how those appointments are made?
If you give me a moment, while I'm looking, Your Honor, I'm going to make a suggestion. I suspect it's going to be a happy suggestion for some and an unhappy suggestion for others, but I'm trying to find a happy medium. If the based on tonight's vote, I will remind the governing body that it takes a 2/3 vote excluding the mayor to approve the bond ordinance on second reading. I would suggest that the administration take a long, hard look at what's been discussed tonight and consider the concept of bringing an ordinance that might find the 4 votes. As for the members of the Housing Committee, it is 5 members comprised of 5. No, you approved it at 5, folks.
Okay. All right.
This is your resolution, Tim. 5 people, 2 council members, 3 residents, appointed by the council, terms of 3 years. That's the resolution the council adopted, Mayor.
Right, by the way, Tim had agreed to not have 3 years yesterday.
Well, that's the resolution that was adopted was the resolution the councilman drafted. That was the motion. That was the second. That was the vote.
Can I have my point of inquiry now?
So, Mr. Bernstein, when does this committee get formed in terms of?
As soon as they can put it together at a council meeting. And it won't be this one, it'll be the June meeting. Because the meeting on the 24th is a limited item.
Yeah.
Can we call a special meeting to do it?
As I have advised council members, a special meeting may be called by either the mayor or by 4 members of the governing body in request to the mayor if the mayor will not grant a special meeting.
Okay.
I just have a
The
reminder.
mayor,
I still have a point of inquiry.
Mr. Luciano's got a point of inquiry.
Yes. Mr.
Oh,
Luciano?
thank you. I once again, I am greatly appreciative of that. I know that you mentioned earlier that this is the last Zoom meeting. Can we make the assumption that our next meeting will be in the council chamber? And I would possibly, well, I'm wondering that where we could split and be, so I don't even care about the social distancing, but my suggestion would be that we still have a Zoom meeting with the general public if we're worried about the council chamber being too small, but the mayor and council being in the council chamber. So is that what you were referring to?
I am gonna look into it if it's permitted under state law, if we have the proper, our council chamber is kind of small, but we'll figure out a way to do it. It might actually work to do it outdoors underneath the Borough Hall. I've done 2 of them there last year.
Yeah, I remember.
It's very easy to set up a blended meeting. Glad to help.
And that's what I would suggest, Mr. Mayor. We could have 3 people sit up top, 3 people sit below, and still have the general public on Zoom. But then this way, I'd feel more comfortable. It'd be very hard to get my 230 pounds out of the meeting at that point.
Not sure what you're talking about there, but
you know exactly what I'm talking about.
In terms of the public, I just want everybody to understand that chairing these meetings is not always the easiest thing to do. On the virtual meeting, the mute button is essentially the gavel. Unfortunately with Zoom, people do have a tendency to try to interrupt each other much more. I know in terms of your businesses and professional lives, people are much more respectful than they are at meetings in town here. With that
Mayor?
said, I would like to have a yes.
Mayor, I have to remind one last thing on the agenda, please.
Yeah, I was two things.
Please,
Your Honor, I would suggest that if you're going to go back to a meeting, whether it's hybrid or not, that you start at the regular meeting on June the 9th. Since we have noticed the meeting on the 24th, or at least we're talking about doing it on Zoom. And frankly, the transition is going to take a little time because even in a hybrid, you're going to need to separate people, whether they're fully vaccinated or not. There is one other item.
If I may add, Mr. Bernstein, I mean, Ms. Scancarello and I are sitting here now, and there's no plexiglass, there's no separations at all. I don't know, we'll have to look into the situation here in the chambers if it would even permit it, but obviously, whatever the council wishes, if we can get.
Setting up a blended meeting is no problem.
I think the governor has already put out in his executive order that political meetings can be indoors up to a certain percentage, up to 250 people or 25 or 50% of the occupancy. It seems as though you and Ms. Scancarello are pretty comfortable sitting right next to each other. I think with the 6 of us in the council chamber being 6 feet apart and having a blended meeting, it can be very well done. And I think
Councilman, I said whatever you wish. Let us look into it and we'll communicate. That's what I said.
And wearing
And
masks.
also, the borough administrator does not have to be there. She can be on a computer elsewhere if she's uncomfortable.
The answer, whether you
I would
like it or
advise
not,
that.
Councilman, and that is the current order from the governor.
I know.
The other thing to consider is just doing it at the school gymnasium.
Your Honor, there is one other item on the agenda for this evening, and that is to confirm that the meeting of next Monday at 8 a.m. on second reading of the ordinance that was introduced at the May 7th meeting to be considered for approval.
Okay.
Yeah, Mayor, I
Which
have one
requires
more.
a motion and a second.
Can you repeat that again, sir? I didn't quite catch that.
This is the second reading of the ordinance that was introduced at the May 7th special meeting to be called for, which was called for at the time of May 24th at 8 a.m. So one item agenda.
Correct.
And we had that tonight. I didn't see that agenda anywhere.
It's not on tonight. It's to confirm that meeting tonight. Otherwise, the mayor's going to do it by special meeting.
I just, my question really is that on our agenda?
Yes, it is
tonight?
on your agenda under old business. It says special meeting, May 24th, 2021.
You have to read down at the bottom.
Under old business.
Oh, well, I make a motion to adjourn because last week, that's what happened to me.
Mayor,
I
I
wanted to
have
talk
one.
about old business and I was cut off. So I make a motion to adjourn.
Second.
Hold on a second.
There's a motion and a
Trying
second.
to say one thing.
Mayor,
Nope, that's what happened to me last week. There's a motion and a second.
Mayor, there's a motion and a second to adjourn. Unfortunately, it takes precedent.
Okay, but
We take
if that motion fails,
Then you can do a motion to approve the 24th.
Okay, so I need the motion that's pending to fail. And then we revote to have the May 24th meeting confirmed.
Mhm.
Then we'll have the
Is
motion.
that how you're supposed to vote, gentlemen?
So we're going, so basically, let's have a roll call for adjournment. Please vote no, except, because we still have business to do. And Mr.
Please vote no,
Luciano-
gentlemen.
Can we call the roll, please, Ms. McMorro?
That's
Yes,
fine.
sir.
Councilman Katrubis, you're so right.
Okay. Council President Wu,
No.
Of course. Farrow, no. Park, no.
may I please call the vote?
Luciano,
I'm trying to add these extra votes and I appreciate your patience.
you are so disruptive, Mr.
Council-
Luciano.
Councilman Farrow,
No.
Councilman Park,
No.
Councilman Luciano,
He's muted. He could unmute himself if he wishes. No, he's not being muted. You can-
Councilman Luciano, we're asking you to unmute, please.
All right. just
Go
keep-
on to Councilman Di Gregorio.
Councilman Di Gregorio,
Adjourn, yes.
Councilman Katrubis,
Am I an obstructionist, Mr. Mayor?
Just vote.
You can answer the question.
Just vote.
yes or no, please?
No.
Thank you. Councilman Luciano,
He won't unmute himself, so it's a no vote.
how do I record that vote, Mr. Bernstein?
A no vote. He's not being muted.
Recorded as an abstention. Doesn't matter. The motion fails.
All right. Can I have a motion to confirm the May 24th meeting at 8 a.m.?
So moved.
Second.
All in favor?
Just one question, once
Okay,
again,
roll
no
call. We're
discussion.
doing a roll call.
Once again, no discussion. Is that, did you say 8 a.m.?
8
Yes.
a.m.
On what day is that?
Monday.
May
Monday,
24th.
okay. I don't think I'll be there because I have to work, and I sent this in an email about this meeting.
Yeah, I know.
And
You know what,
to
though?
call-
You
To
also.
call them at 8 o'clock is not really cooperative.
Well, look, I'm sorry that.
So
you
that's
scheduled
good, but I expect that.
But,
Mute
you know,
mute it.
Seems like you have no problem sending emails from your workplace during the day.
Well,
so-
email's a little different than a 4-hour meeting, wouldn't you say?
Okay.
I
Please.
have a problem with that time also. I have to work. I
Okay.
have to be at work. I have an obligation to my job. So I would
So-
respectfully ask.
Well,
that you-
that's part of being on council then, isn't it? You have to revise your schedules for the borough.
Yeah, okay.
Mayor, yeah, this was already confirmed. It's a second reading, and you are all very well aware about the importance of what that is about.
We know. You don't have to rehash. Thank you.
We know, but some of us do have a work commitment, and it's very difficult, just like we changed this one from the morning to the night to
Yes.
accommodate everyone.
I did
But the
accommodate.
mayor now is being petulant, so the mayor can do it at 8 o'clock.
I did accommodate everyone this evening.
Did you
you
say
won't-
petulant? I think you are being petulant.
Petulant,
Apparently, I don't
petulant.
get any goodwill with anyone.
petulant.
So in the absence of any goodwill, let's please have a vote on having
Okay.
the meeting.
Okay, Council President Wu,
Yes.
Councilman Farrow.
This vote is for,
This is to confirm the special meeting, 8 a.m. on May 24th, 2021.
yes,
Councilman Park,
Yes.
Councilman Luciano,
He doesn't unmute himself. So. He's got to Di Gregorio.
You muted him.
And I unmuted him too.
well, I'm asking him to unmute. It's not responding. Councilman Di Gregorio,
The meeting has to be in the evening. You rearrange this one, rearrange
this
that
one,
one.
so that's already been advertised,
Yes or no?
that meeting?
So
Yeah.
re-advertise it.
Yes or no?
I don't want the meeting in the morning.
Do you vote yes or do you vote no?
Yes to have the meeting in the morning? No, I'm
Yes.
not going to vote to have a meeting in the morning.
Okay, so you're a no vote. It's simple.
Correct.
Fine, you're a no vote.
Councilman Katrubis,
Yes.
thank you.
Go back to.
Councilman Luciano,
All right, he's an abstention.
it passes, Mayor.
Okay, and
I'm
Mayor-
not an abstention. I'd please like the record to reflect that I am repeatedly and continually muted and my video.
all right.
So please let the record reflect, and I want it in the minute,
Well, you have the ability to.
that the mayor has muted me repeatedly. He has kicked me out of the meeting at least 6 times, and he has turned off my video repeatedly, so I can't hold up the sign to show that I have been muted.
All right, enough. Can I have a motion
But
to.
Mayor Kranjak,
Mayor, I have one
Mayor
statement.
Kranjak has
he
also
wants
muted
everybody
me.
to have fair constitution, but the council members
Borough work.
Robert's rules.
get muted
We-
and kicked out of the meetings.
It's clear.
Muted and
Robert's
kicked out of.
rules, this is
Mayor,
not acceptable.
Mayor, please.
Yes, go ahead.
Okay, I just want to remind all the council members now that it's important because you're working on your ad hoc committee. The RFQ has been placed for additional special counsel. It went on Friday. It's going to be up for about 2 weeks. And if there are any attorneys that you have recommendations for, this would be the time to ask them to submit to the RFQ. And that's it. So far, I haven't received anything at the Borough Hall, but
Can you please repeat that? Because I missed half of it.
I was kicked out also.
at the last,
You don't have to repeat.
You don't have to repeat it.
We're not going out of our way for people who are just creating problems at these meetings. So they could have heard you. They chose to do what they did. They're in the waiting room, okay? As chair, under Robert's rules, I have the ability to do that. It's not fair to everyone else to have to do this and wait for them to stop interrupting you, Ms. McMorrow. Thank you.
okay, I just wanted to remind everyone, Mayor, that the RFQ process is open right now, and this is a great opportunity to get additional counsel.
All right, thank you.
Welcome.
All right, can I have a motion to adjourn, please?
Motion to adjourn.
Oh, second? Is there a second?
What are we voting on? Because I just got back to the
Adjourning.
Oh, thank you. I'm glad you brought me back to adjourn. I greatly
Is
appreciate
there a
that.
second?
You are the man.
I did it.
Okay.
Mark.
Welcome back.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Anyone opposed?
I oppose because I was kicked out of half of the vote.
Anyone abstaining? All right, there's one.
I oppose.
There's two opposed.
There's two.
4-2.
I don't
Let the
appreciate
record
being
reflect
kicked
that
out
we're
many,
kicked out in the
multiple
middle of the
times.
vote.
We are
Muted
Let the
multiple
record
times.
reflect I was kicked out in the middle of the vote.
We are adjourned.
Please make sure.
It's an embarrassment.
We are adjourned. Thank you, Jared and Eric. I see you're still there.
Good night.
A huge disappointment. I'm sorry that you